Hey guys, Ray Russell here of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network and the Wrestling Memory Grenade, coming to you with this quick update. And first of all, I want to say hello and thank you to all of our loyal listeners out there. If you guys have been dropping by on your favorite podcast streaming apps or even WrestleCopia.com looking for episode number 58 of the Wrestling Memory Grenade as we begin to set the stage for 1987 and the World Wrestling Federation, you may have noticed the show didn't drop on time yesterday. And there's actually a very good reason for that. And for those who follow me on Twitter, you guys may have already seen the news. And I want to be clear, the next episode of The Grenade, episode number 58, all about 1987 in the WWF, the show is already recorded, it's in the can, and it will be out in the next couple of days. So keep checking back. I promise you it'll be out very, very soon. And in fact, for those eager and they just can't wait, you can actually go to our Patreon account right now at patreon.com/WrestleCopia. That's patreon.com/WrestleCopia. The $2 early bird tier will get you the first 2 hours of the next episode of The Grenade for those out there who may not be able to wait for the full show to drop here in the next few days. And there's a very good reason for that, guys. I go back to this past Tuesday. I was in the middle of actually editing the show when I received a call at 3 o'clock in the afternoon alerting me. My aunt called me to alert me that my 33-year-old cousin had unexpectedly passed away. She was kind of a night owl. They didn't think much of it initially. She keeps her dog in her room with her. They were knocking on the door in the late morning. Brittney, you need to let the dog out. It needs to go outside to the bathroom. And by 2:30 in the afternoon, they picked the lock on her door. They opened the door, and unexpectedly, she had passed away sometime in the very late morning. Now, we all have family, and I know we all love our family. Sometimes we have cousins that we see only on the holidays, sometimes maybe a little more often than that. But I actually had the pleasure of growing up with a lot of my cousins. See, my grandmother raised me, and so while my aunts and uncles would go to work throughout the week, all of my cousins, well, they were babysat by my grandmother. So I grew up with them at least 5 days a week, and usually on the weekends, one of us were spending the night over one another's houses. So a lot of my cousins were more like siblings to me growing up. And this news, it really came out of nowhere, a real shocker and very sad. The toxicology report came back on Thursday, and they ruled the death a heart defect. It seems she had an enlarged heart and some issues going on with one of her valves that none of the doctors had ever detected prior to this. So it really was just absolutely out of the blue. Her parents said they heard her in the kitchen at 1 o'clock in the morning making something to eat in the microwave. They checked her phone records. She was on the phone with a friend at 4 a.m. So obviously she didn't know, nothing out of the ordinary was happening with her at that point. And then sometime later, a few hours later, she succumbed to this enlarged heart, this heart defect. And it's been very hard on my grandmother and the family. And it's, been upsetting. And needless to say, it's slowed me down on editing time this week. And we do have some other things going on too. And I'm still fighting the last bit of this cold as well. So it's just been a heck of a week, guys. And I do apologize for the show coming out late this week. Obviously, I would like to think you guys would understand why that would be. I've done my best to get the show out on time each and every week, but the time, it just wasn't there. My heart just wasn't into sitting down and working on the audio. But overall, the show almost complete, almost done editing. Like I said, the first 2 hours already available on our Patreon account for only $2, guys. If you're interested, I had a blast recording this episode, putting it together, setting the stage for 1987 in the WWF. We talked so much about all of the big feuds of the time, Hogan and Orndorff, Piper and Adonis, Savage and Steamboat, Bruno and Savage, Kamala and Hogan, what they're doing on the house shows leading into 87. I talk about the return of Andre the Giant and everything leading up to it, the abrupt heel turn of the Honky Tonk Man, dangerous Danny Davis, and everything he has going on as a referee right now. We talk about Jim Neidhart's legal situation at the beginning of 1987. I break down, analyze, and dissect the entire WWF roster leading into the new year. It's a fun show. It's very detailed, lots of sound bites, lots of fun to be had. So I hope you guys look forward to listening to the show when it drops. I can't give you an exact time or day right now. It should be out in the next couple of days. Please keep checking back. I just wanted you guys to know what was going on in my personal life that's kind of slowed things down. I did make a couple of posts about this on Twitter, but I realize a lot of our listeners are not on Twitter, so I felt this was the best way to get it out there for everyone who listens to The Grenade. The show was recorded. It was already done before this even happened. It was just a matter of finding the time to finish editing the show. So while there's a day or two of downtime and you guys are waiting for the next show, do me a favor if you have the opportunity, whatever you're listening to this show on, whether it's Google, Apple, Spotify, etc., go on over there. Leave us a 5-star rating. Leave us a little feedback. Let us know how we're doing. And more importantly, hit that subscribe button so that you know when episode 58 drops, you guys can pick it up right away. But just a whole lot going on right now within my family, not just my cousin, but specifically my cousin. Just a lot of things going on that I'm trying to process and deal with. And it's been a tough week just in general. And again, this lingering cold just adds to the aggravation. As I wrap things up here in closing, to my cousin Brittney, who passed away the other day, I will miss you. I love you. I've known you since birth. Born in June of 1988, she was. Just a little baby. My grandmother helped raise her, like I said, 5 days a week from newborn up until, well, she was old enough to stay at home on her own anyway. And very opinionated, but such a loving person and an animal lover for sure. I think she loved animals more than people. Yeah, she's one of those. But she was just lots of memories growing up, just tons of memories from our AOL chats back in the day to when I was involved with some of the independent wrestling companies around town. She would find a way to make it to the shows. Only 13, 14 years old. I think back, how did she get to the shows? Maybe her mom or dad. I don't remember, but she was always there, always joking, always a smile. At holiday functions, she would always gravitate towards me, look at me to be the comedian. And she was my audience. And that's really all I needed. Obviously, other people in the family would come and go out of the room, but she would just stay and laugh the entire time, everything that was coming out of my mouth. So she was an enabler of sorts at times. She loved to debate, not argue, but debate strongly against pretty much anything. So she would like to do that at night sometimes, and I just did not have the time back in the AOL days. Fast forward to the early days of social media. We would also be on there in the infancy of the internet. I guess maybe not the infancy, but the early part of 2000s, there were sites online where you could go online and play board games with people you didn't know, and you could chat down in the little window. And me and her would always join a game of Sorry or Parcheesi or something online, and I would have fun with the other people, the strangers that were playing with us. I would make jokes, Jerry Lawler type jokes at them, and she would just laugh away most of the night. So lots of fond memories and lots of good times. So needless to say, Brittney, you will be missed. I love you very much. And to my listeners out there, once again, I thank you guys for your patience. I promise episode number 58 will be dropping very, very soon as we set the stage for the World Wrestling Federation in 1987. And until that time, on behalf of the Wrestling Memory Grenade and the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, this is Ray Russell saying thank you once again, and until next time.